All right, welcome everyone to another video from Midian Gaming. Today we have Nathan from Suaku Down Under.
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks for an invite.
Yeah, Suaku. So what does that mean?
So it's a Chinese dialect that means, or in that dialect, it means mountain turtle, which kind of means someone who's clueless and open to learning new things.
All right, that's awesome. All right, well today we're doing card reveals for Vampire: The Eternal Struggle. Just going through the cards as I sort through them, through the boxes, and just find interesting stuff to talk about. Yeah. So today we're just going to start off straight into it with Ambrosius the Ferryman. So I'll read out what it does. You need a Giovanni to play it, as can be shown with the Giovanni symbol on that left hand side. Costs 3 to play from your pool, and it's a unique race with 2 life, 1 strength, 0 bleed. So I'll just read out for it and then we'll go through the card. Ambrosius can move a retainer from your ash heap to a ready vampire you control. Ignore requirements. Pretty interesting. And put 3 pathos counters on that retainer as an action. During your unlock phase, burn a pathos counter from that retainer. Remove the retainer from the game if it has no pathos counters. Ambrosius is immune to non-aggravated damage. So, what are your thoughts on this, Nathan?
So, when I was looking at the card, I've only seen it played once before.
Mm-hmm.
So, credit where credit is due. All this information I'm about to share is provided to me by Keith, who's the Prince of Singapore.
Oh, wow.
Yep, great shout out to you, Keith. You rock.
Yeah.
So he basically said that Ambrosio is good in any deck that requires a unique minion.
Yep.
So like Kazar's Diary decks, so you kind of want the minion to die. A little bit hard to kill Ambrosius, but he's good to sort of stick around as a blocker if he's in play, right? Because it's really hard to kill.
Yeah.
The other cool thing you could do with Ambrosius is to give him Talbot's Chainsaw. So Talbot Chainsaw, among other things, allows you to rush another Methuselah's minion, but it also deals 3 regular damage to its wielder each turn. But Ambrosius is immune to regular damage, so he ignores it and he can just run around and...
He's immune to non-aggravated. Yeah.
So he just goes around running around with chainsaw and just cuts people in half.
Theoretically, you could do that with any wraith, yeah?
You could, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the thing is because he's unique, it works well. So you can have both like Ty Cooper and him. I think these are 2 unique raves. Yeah.
Thing with Ambrosius is that it's for retainers, not allies. So anyone thinking of like shambling hordes or anything, that kind of thing, you can't use them. Yeah. So just need to find the right retainer to actually do this with. What was the one that you mentioned just then before?
Which one?
Which is the best retainer?
For Ambrosius, you could get away with running Masker. So it's a Giovanni retainer that, among other things, allows you to burn it to give +1 intercept to any Giovanni, and it's a retainer, not an ally.
Yep.
So it also it's good. It's a good combo with Ambrosius because it also works around the whole pathos counter remove from game thing. So you use Ambrosius to bring it back into play, and then you burn it with the Masker's ability so it doesn't get removed from game because it wasn't removed due to pathos counters.
Yep.
And then Ambrosius can do it again.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So anything that you can burn to get the ability from, he's getting a pretty good use out of it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do realize that him doing this action is not at a +1 stealth action. So if you're really build a deck around this guy to get things off and it's necessary, do understand that you're gonna need some stealth, because if you pull something off and the table's not happy, they're going to block it.
Yep.
All right, let's go on to the next card. We won't sit too long on the one card at each time. Right, Ambulance. It's a vehicle, costs you 1 pull. After a combat between this acting minion and a blocking minion, you may lock the ambulance to continue the action as if unblocked. Wow, huh? If the action is blocked again, burn this card. This minion may lock the ambulance to attempt to burn an incapacitated imbued as a +1 stealth D action. A minion may only have 1 vehicle. Wow, that's pretty impressive, man. I'm surprised I haven't seen this used more often. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think when this this card first came out, it did see a fair bit of use. Just people trying to figure out, like, being able to continue action after being blocked is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have no idea why. I think it's maybe really because it requires an action to get it, and just having 2 blockers effectively burns the ambulance, which isn't that great.
Well, think of it this way, right? If I take a deck that is not looking for combat and I've got the ambulance on and I come across to do a particular action or a bleed, you block me out, I majesty, I untap, and then I continue the action. This is effectively what's that called? Freak drive.
Yep.
It's effectively a freak drive. I continue the action. Now, if it gets blocked again, of course, I'm in a bit of trouble. But like, how many times have you come through with an action where you get +1 stealth or like +2 stealth? Person uses their resources to block it, and then you continue the action after the combat. I think it's fantastic. I love the fact that it's got that inbuilt thing against imbued as well. Not many people like imbued.
No.
And if it shows up at a table, you would never take this card unless your entire meta was imbued. For the imbued purpose, I'm saying. But it's there just in case one was to show up because someone wants to trick the table or something. Like,
it's kind of like a nice to have.
Yeah.
It's like by the way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look, I think this is a fantastic deck, especially if you don't want combat and you need those actions to go through. It's a great card. Like, yeah, I like it. Yeah, especially against those intercept decks. Let's go on to the next card. Wow, good card. Anarch Manifesto. Oh, it's an equipment. The Anarch with this equipment gets +1 stealth on actions that require an Anarch. Titled, non-Anarch vampires get +1 strength in combat with this minion. A minion may have only 1 Anarch Manifesto. Lead us in, Nathan. What do you reckon?
I think it's a pretty good card. It provides stealth, without requiring disciplines. Anyone can play this. The action to equip it, just because it's an equip action, is at +1 stealth anyway. And I think the drawback is really not that relevant, because with stealth you're like not likely to get into combat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it's quite a good card. Just throwing it out there, would you take this in a combat deck?
Would I take this in a combat deck? Probably not. Because what happens is then you're building, I mean, it's true, having stealth and actions to enter combat is good because you get to where you want the target to be, but that plus, if you're running a combat deck and you run this, that +1 strength against you becomes relevant.
Yeah, potentially. I've got like, the reason why I say that is because such cards where you can actually burn a vampire, and then you've got various cards that will like stop a blood hunt or anything like that. Going for the other vampire in torpor is not at stealth, so it can be easily blocked. But this sitting there as a stealth option without you needing to do anything. So you can jump into combat with people, but then if your deck's made to actually be burning vampires or diablerizing them, an instant +1 stealth, it would just create havoc on the opponents.
Yeah, but there aren't any Diablerie cards that require Anarch. So you only get +1 stealth on actions that require Anarch.
Oh, that require an Anarch.
Yeah.
Very good. I thought it was an Anarch, could only be an Anarch, but no, you're reading it correctly. Actions that require an Anarch. Good pickup.
Yeah. I think with the new 5th edition release, this card might see more use, might see more play, because there is a huge influx of Anarch and Anarch specific cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No, great pickup. See the stuff I miss out on. It's always good to have someone else here. All right, let's take a look at this next card. We've got Anachronism. I actually like this card. Let's read through it. It's a master card. Costs 1 pull. Put this card on a vampire with capacity above 6. This vampire cannot have or use any ranged weapons except the ivory bow. If he or she currently has any, they are burned. All right. It's an old card. Yep.
Yep.
Ever used it much yourself?
No, I've never used it before. I have seen it used once. Sort of I can't remember what the whole plan behind the deck was, but what the player did was he would play Anachronism on somebody else's vampire and then just feed that particular vampire with Master Discipline cards until they're above 6 and weapons just drop off. That's cute.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I wouldn't call this a meta card, okay? If the meta you're in is running around with high vampires with weapons, like your gun decks and so forth, then this is a nice surprise card. I don't see it as a staple, but it is nice to catch out those people and almost force them to lay off that type of deck and turn up with something different if they're seeing it all the time. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, and this ties back to your previous video as well, where you were talking about the pool investment for cards like AK-47.
Oh, totally.
Can you imagine bringing out an AK-47 on a big vampire, thinking that, all right, I'm ready to go, and then someone goes like, oh yeah, but he's not going to be able to hold that AK, and there goes your 5 pool.
True. I was playing Samedi one of the other weeks, and yeah, I think I had the Troglodytea. I think she's 7 cap or 6 or 7 cap. She came out with some weapons. If this had been played on her, just atrocious, I would have burned 4 pool for nothing. Yeah, just on weapons, 4 or 5 pool, crazy. Next card. All right, Anathema requires a prince or Justica. Choose a ready vampire. If the referendum is successful, put this card on the vampire. If the vampire with this card is reduced to 0 blood in combat, he or she is burned, and Methusa controlling the opposing minion gains pool equal to the burned vampire's capacity. Wow, huh?
Yeah. I personally don't like this card.
No? Reason why?
Well, there are a few things. So, typically, with this card, you're looking at a deck that has a lot of political influence.
Yep.
So you're packing cards that allow you to push this vote through, and then at the same time, you also need to be a combat deck, otherwise, you can't get the best out of this card.
True.
So it stretches the deck a little bit too thin for my liking. Yeah, so that's kind of why I didn't really like this card.
When Kindred Most Wanted first came out, this card I saw used quite a bit because decks were made trying to get rid of vampires and get trophies and a whole bunch of this type of stuff. Whether I would put this in a deck, look, if I've got a political deck and I've got the room, there is a chance I would include it, mainly because it invites the table to think about going after one particular vampire that's causing trouble on the table, yeah?
Yep.
And normally where they would let turns go by, this might be a nice little juicy thing to go after that vampire, and people doing stuff that I want them to do. I might not take full advantage of this, but there's a very good chance there's 3 other vampires against the one that I want to go against, or Methuselahs with vampires that may take advantage of this. So it could be something quite surprising to throw in there and see what happens with the politics on the table.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the great thing about this game, guys. It's the politics of the table. You can bring the best deck to the table and it might not win or might not even have a chance of winning because you got 4 other Methuselahs against you, yeah? So,
100%.
all right, we're getting on to our last card for the day, Ancilla Empowerment. Successful referendum means each Methuselah burns 1 pool for each minion they control. Personally, I love this card. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, love it. If your deck is running not a bajillion minions, definitely run it.
For sure. Look, if you're taking those big vampires and you're not got the little ones, I think this belongs in most political decks that choose high vampires, because you don't want to be rushed by weenie decks or political vote decks, weenie decks such as the Toreador, even decks that are not political, such as the Tremere, bringing out that mage. What's the mage called?
Nafandi?
Oh, the Nafandi deck. I killed a Nafandi deck with this vote. It was fantastic because they're minions, yeah?
Yeah.
And so where you're not able to get them and you're voting across table and they can't get to you, it's fantastic for really, like, if that's my Grand Predator, if I can knock him down right towards near the end of game where he's going to get 6 pull and then take out the next few people to get to him, it's fantastic. I love this card.
Yeah. And if you, sorry.
No, I just need it at the right time. That's all.
And also, if you think about it, when you're coming down to, say, 2 players, and the other player has got, the other Methuselah has got a significant minion advantage over you.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same as playing a kind resources contested, because you're gonna have to take 1 from the kind resources contested.
Yeah.
This deals more. You might take more, but it levels the playing field.
Yeah. And this is one card that really benefits over KRC from something like the Asher tablets. Okay, so if you get this early in your hand, early in game, and it's not usable, you can pitch it to draw cards. If you're playing Asher tablets, you can get 13 cards, hopefully later on in the game, and no one burns your Asher tablets, to actually shuffle this back into your deck with less cards in your deck later on in the game when they've got quite a few minions on the table. So it really is enhanced with other cards such as Asher tablets. Would you agree? Or
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for today, guys. What were your thoughts? Did we miss anything? Put it down in the comments, please. If you get the time, take a look at Suaku Down Under. Does also does his own videos for VTES as well as what other things?
Yeah. So currently it's predominantly VTES.
Nice. That's what we want.
Yep. Have a look. Head over to YouTube. Search for Swaku Down Under.
Yep.
And I'm the only person with that channel.
Yeah. So we do take the time out of our day to make content for you all, guys. It's all part of the entertainment. It's all part of assisting the scene and bringing it out. So, those thumbs up on each of our videos really helps. And what really helps is subscribing. It's a second of your time. It's a lifetime of love for us. It really keeps us going towards making these a lot better for all of you. Yeah. Awesome. All right.
Definitely.
Catch you all on future videos. We're going to be doing more of these. Okay. Have a great one, guys. See you all.
See ya.